So week 5 of the 2018 NFL season is in the books, and it was another fun one. It really was. A couple of overtime games. You look at it, you had history being made by Drew Brees. That was a big highlight on Monday night. The showdown in Texas. That was actually a pretty good game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So the notable marquee primetime games had their own things where they delivered in their own way. Again, multiple overtime games. Just a lot of interesting things. Young quarterbacks leading their teams to victory. It was an interesting week. So let's talk about the week that was. It started off on Thursday night where it's a new year, but the same result. The Patriots smacked around the Colts. The Colts just aren't a very good team. As much as Andrew Luck tries, the New England Patriots seem to have been able to find a little bit of a rhythm. Just how good they can really be might be yet to be determined, especially with that defense. But that offense, with Gronk healthy, Edelman back, maybe Josh Gordon getting into the flow, Sony Michel in the running game, could potentially be one of the more explosive offensive units that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have ever had there in New England. Then when you switch to the Sunday action, just when you want to take the Tennessee Titans seriously, you're beating the Jaguars, you're sitting there and you're winning games in overtime, taking big chances against the Eagles. Then you go to Buffalo and lose to them 13-12. The Bills stink. This is why it's really hard to take the Titans too seriously. It's a game they had no business losing. They should have won by 2 touchdowns even on the road, and they found a way to lose. That's terrible. The Bengals came back and beat the Miami Dolphins, and as of right now, myself and many others have egg on our face. The Bengals are 4-1 and in first place in the AFC North, and they look somewhat legit. It doesn't even feel right to say it. Maybe eventually they'll come back down to earth, but it looks like right now their orbit is on a pretty sustainable trajectory. They look pretty good. As do the Cleveland Browns. A clear example of coaching costing you wins, costing you games. You could make the argument that this Browns team should be 5-0. But they're not. But 2-1 is not that bad considering where they've been and what they've been the past couple of years. They've now doubled their win total compared to the previous 2 seasons combined as they found a way to win in overtime over the divisional rival Baltimore Ravens 12-9. It wasn't pretty. Baker wasn't exceptional. But it was good enough. And the Browns are in the mix of the playoffs. That's so fun to say. Not so fun of a day on Sunday if you're Mason Crosby. He missed 4 field goals and an extra point. Arguably had his worst day as a kicker in the NFL in that long career. The Lions beat the Packers 31-23. The Chiefs skinned the Cats. In this case, the Jaguars 30-14. Mahomes wasn't even that special, and it didn't matter on this game. This Chiefs team just looks like a bit of a juggernaut right now. And the Jaguars got rolled over, period. Isaiah Crowell had over 200 yards rushing. Robbie Anderson had 130-plus yards receiving and 2 touchdown catches. And lo and behold, the Jets beat the Broncos 34-16. The Broncos went to the East Coast physically, but for all intents and purposes, just didn't bother to show up on this day. The Steelers showed some signs of life, whatever that means, against a Falcons team that's slowly starting to come apart at the seams. But they were in a really good rhythm offensively. They smashed Atlanta 41-17. The Panthers wanted, it felt like, to lose that game to the Giants. The Giants kept fighting, scratching, and clawing. And lo and behold, end of the game, it comes down to a 63-yard field goal. Graham Gano connects. The Panthers win. Holy hell. He tied Tom Dempsey's NFL record. Ain't that something that's crazy? The Chargers struck down the Raiders 26-10. John Gruden is 1-4. I'm sure glad the Raiders paid him $10 million a season for the next decade. Ouchies. The Minnesota Vikings got some revenge on the Philadelphia Eagles for last year's NFC Championship game. The Vikings went into Philly. It was a must-win game for them, and they delivered. They beat the Eagles 23-21. Hey, Josh Rosen, speaking of young quarterbacks winning, Josh Allen won on Sunday. Baker Mayfield won on Sunday. And Josh Rosen got his first career win on Sunday, a road win at that. beating the 49ers 28-18. Early returns on Rosen, not that terrible. The Rams had a big battle on their hands in Seattle against the Seahawks. Divisional road games can always be tough. And you look at the Rams and Seahawks, maybe it shouldn't have been that much of a surprise that it was this closely contested of a game. The Rams went for it, though, late, trusted in Jared Goff and that offense to run that quarterback sneak on 4th and 1 with less than 2 minutes to go. It paid off, Jason Garrett, and the Rams beat the Seahawks 33-31. That game on Sunday night, I enjoyed. There were some big plays on offense, and there was some nice defense being played as well. A balanced all-around game. At moments, wasn't the prettiest thing to watch, but the entirety of the game was pretty good. It was interesting and compelling enough for me, and it went to overtime. Jason Garrett doesn't go for it on 4th and 1 because it's a long 1 yard. Even with all you've invested in that offensive line, you've got Zeke, a marquee running back. You don't go for it, you puss out. And then DeAndre Hopkins goes full video game cheat mode. It's crazy. He was a cheat code on that play. And the Texans beat the Cowboys 19-16. And then, of course, you got Monday night. Drew Brees and that Saints offense most certainly showed up. Brees was awesome. He was spectacular, and he deserved the moment. And clearly the Redskins looked like they were ready to oblige because even with 2 weeks to prepare, they were terrible. I saw some Redskins fans saying, why do they keep scheduling the Redskins for Monday Night Football? Because they're historically terrible on it. And after watching that performance Monday night, I can certainly understand why you would say that. I would agree. They were bad. Really, really do bad. Ugh, my God. They were horrible. But Drew Brees, absolutely legendary. In terms of your big winners and losers for the week, I'll start with the winners, the Cleveland Browns. 1 win between 2016 and 2017 combined. This team is now 2-2-1. They've doubled their win total from the previous 2 seasons combined. And you feel like they should at least be 4-1, if not potentially 5-0. They're not the skid marks anymore. You can take them at least somewhat seriously. And it's fun to think about. It is. It absolutely is. The Minnesota Vikings go to Philly, a game they must win, and they get the job done. If the Vikings would have lost this game to the Eagles, they would have been 1-3-1, staring up in that division at the freaking Lions and the Packers and the Bears in a very, very bad place. Now, they've kept themselves in the mix, got a notable win, got some revenge for what happened in the NFC Championship game last year. It was a big week for Minnesota, and they got the job done. And, of course, the biggest winner of the week of all has to be Drew Brees. Sets the all-time career passing yardage record. Throws a couple of touchdown passes. He's 1 touchdown pass away from 500. He's going to catch Favre in a few weeks. You know, he might end up retiring with the all-time career passing touchdown mark as well. But it was his spotlight. It was his moment for such an underrated, undervalued, underappreciated, all-time great legendary quarterback. He deserved that spotlight, and it was his, and he owned it, and I'm glad he got that chance. In terms of the losers of the week, I got to look at the Tennessee Titans. You're beating the Jaguars 1 week, and then you're losing to the freaking sorry-ass Buffalo Bills the next. You can't do that. You just can't let that happen. Mason Crosby has had a very good career. He can't have many more weeks like that one, that's for sure. You know, why you can point to other things as to why the Packers lost to the Lions. Most certainly doesn't help when your kicker misses 4 field goals and an extra point. And for that 1 week, yeah, he was a pretty big loser there. And then the Washington Redskins, they didn't even bother showing up on Monday night. Like, you might as well just let Drew Brees not have any pass rush at all because, I mean, it's not like the Redskins cared or tried. Really bad look for them in a primetime spot. And now that brings me to the 2-minute thrill. And I didn't really know what I was going to talk about because I've already talked about Drew Brees in a video. I'm going to talk about Jason Garrett in another video. And just really quickly, as a fan of a team, in this case for me, the Chicago Bears, that actually for once is having a good and promising season, an early season bye really, really sucks. It really completely sucks. Without the Bears on TV on a Sunday or a Monday or whatever, I just feel lost. Like, there's other football to watch. And on one hand, it's kind of nice to be able to sit there and say, I'll be able to watch other games and other teams play without having to worry about whether the Bears win or lose. But it's one of those things when your team is actually doing something worth a crap and you have a reason to at least be a little bit excited about the team, when you're starting to really get excited about them, then you got to go without them for a week. And I feel like I'm a drug addict fiending for the Bears. I wish we didn't have to have bye weeks. Bye weeks suck. I understand why they're there. Have no problem with them being there. Glad they're there. But from a fan standpoint, especially when your team is worth a crap, they absolutely suck. And I struggled so bad this past weekend. I struggled so bad because I was fiending for some Bears football and I just didn't get it. And I don't know what you guys do when your team's on a bye, but I just didn't cope very well. Felt like I was crawling up in a corner at one point being like, next week, they'll be back. They'll be back. Boo to bye weeks. They suck. I'm going to watch my team every week, especially because they're kind of good now.